What up, everybody?
What's up?
Ah,
What's up, everybody?
there he is.
Welcome back to the Opps SportsCast. Happy to have you with us tonight. I'm your host, Dave in the Cut, and so glad to have my crew with me tonight, fellas. Welcome. All right. So tonight we have a spicy lineup for you tonight. We had the brother Chris Peasy come up with the topics for tonight, so I want to give him a
Oh,
shout
it's
out
going
for
down. It's going
producing
down.
today's show. Peasy in the building. So tonight we're going to be discussing the NBA playoffs, all right, the 2025 NFL draft, power slap, and the weekly roundup as we do every week. All right, how's that sound, fellas? We good with that? We
Yo,
gonna
it's
have to
going
be
down. It's going down, man. It's going
going
down.
down. It's going down. What's up with you, Big Z? You look extra
Got a
mellow tonight, man.
got a bit of a headache playing hurt, but it's all
Oh
good.
man,
Oh, this is gonna be Zeke's flu game. That's what's up, y'all.
yeah, it
This is
is.
my Marshawn Lynch game.
Beast mode.
Just here so I don't get fined.
353, baby. It's gonna be your flu game, baby. We're gonna make it happen. So, all right. So since we chopping it up, let me go ahead and have my crew introduce themselves. Everybody, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Can't hear
Oh, we
you,
can't hear you, Josh. You're muted.
Oh, I'm messing
Wow.
up. I'm Josh from Eastside.
Big
It's your
Josh.
boy Big Zeke.
Chris Peasy in the building. Let's go, y'all.
All right, Peasy. Let's do it, man. All right, so we're gonna jump right into it because the topics are kind of heavy tonight. So let me just start off with the format. Actually, let's do this real quick. Peasy, why don't you tell us about this week's sponsor?
For sure. Elevated Creations ROC LLC is Rochester's premier women-owned balloon and event decor specialist. Whether you're planning an office party, intimate birthday celebration, or luxurious wedding, Elevated Creations ROC LLC will transform your vision into unforgettable memories. Stunning balloon arrangements, custom centerpieces, welcome signs, and seating charts, they do it all. Elevated Creations ROC LLC is here to make your event exceptional, creating moments that wow your guests and make your special day truly extraordinary. So if you want to transform your event from ordinary to extraordinary, visit their website, elevatedcreationsroc.com, for more information. Elevated Creations, we were created to create.
All right. Shout out to
Nice.
Elevated Creations. We appreciate your sponsorship and your partnership with us. And if you're interested in partnering with us, through a sponsorship or through advertising, you can find the information in the description for the video for today's episode. Okay. All right, fellas, let's jump into it. So, to explain to everybody how our format works, so we introduce a topic and we use a show of fingers to show our stance on the topic. Five being strongly agree, one being strongly disagree. Three, you kind of playing it safe. You're on the fence. You just kind of neutral. All right. So that's how we're gonna do it, and we're gonna jump right into it.
Sounds good. Boom.
All right, let's go. So the NBA playoffs. All right. So this season, three teams that made the playoffs outright or by winning their play-in games fired their head coach mid-season. The NBA regular season has become meaningless.
Mm.
All right, y'all ready for it? Let's go. Three, two, one.
Wow. Look at that. Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
so
you're in the
let's
minority.
for the radio heads, let's go. So I was at two. Josh, what were you at?
4.
Four. Big Z. Good
Yeah,
I
hear.
was
4.
at 4. Big Zeke was at
My
4.
bad. I was at a 4.
All right, and you were at what, PZ?
4.
Four. All right. All right, cool. So, Big Z.
So I think the more and more we add teams to the playoffs, um, it's just more about using the regular season to get in. You don't necessarily, especially in the East. I mean, you look at the records in the East. Um, they're pretty bad. It's terrible. We got the four playoff or the play-in teams. The best team was literally at 41 and 41. That's the seventh seed. Um, honestly, I miss the old format where if you didn't make the top eight, you just don't get in. Um, and it is they're kind of doing the same thing in other sports like football. You got what, seven teams make the playoffs in each conference now.
Mhm.
Baseball, um, I think it's either six or seven teams make the playoffs. It's like it kind of waters down the regular season. Like you should be rewarded for doing as good as you can. If you're number nine or number 10 in the conference, in my opinion, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. So yeah, it's the regular season is watered down because and especially like teams like the Lakers who seemingly year after year they start off slow. They're looking pretty bad. They're positioned in like the seventh or eighth seed, and then all of a sudden some blockbuster trade happens to get LeBron some help, and all of a sudden they're fourth, fifth in the conference, but they're not really a fourth or fifth conference team or a fourth or fifth place team. They're really one of the better teams because of the roster that they've constructed with the trades and everything. You get to go up against an inferior team to pretty much guarantee yourself a first round victory. Um, it's all about positioning and jockeying, and I don't like it. You got teams like the Celtics and the Cavs and the Thunder and the Rockets. They go out, they play to win. They're not worried about who they're playing in the playoffs because they know once they get in there, they're confident they can beat anybody. But certain teams just seem like they want to position and jockey and line themselves up to play certain teams because they want to avoid the better competition. Um, I don't like it. I miss the old days where you played to get in, and you get to the playoffs. You're happy to make the playoffs, and you're gonna fight whether you're the one seed or the eight seed. You're gonna go out there and 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 give it your all.
All right, Big Z. Appreciate it. I'll go next. I was at a two. Um, I disagree that it's meaningless because um, if the regular season was meaningless, why do we need play-ins? Why do we need at the end of the season? Why do we have to have a play-in to determine whether a team is going to make it or not? I really feel like the regular season is where you really push yourself and you do whatever you have to do to make sure that you don't end up as a play-in team. You know what I'm saying? Um, I pretty much think that I used to be somebody that watched the NBA all the time, and you people are saying the TV deals and stuff like that, the big TV deals, the money deals prove that the NBA is not irrelevant, that there's not a viewership issue, and blah blah blah. I just disagree with that. I don't really find the NBA to be as viable as it used to be. I really don't. I don't think the talent level is there. I just don't think that. I don't think people, only diehard people are still really interested in the NBA. You're going to have those people who are lifers, people who are just that's their thing. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But I don't think that the regular season is meaningless again because you have to have these play-ins for teams to make it. Who would have thought that Golden State would have to you know uh, to win a playing game with the talent that they have now? They're not the super warriors that they used to be, but they still got Steph. You know what I'm saying? And having Steph, they still got a chance. Then they bought Jimmy Butler over there. You would have thought hey, just hand them the chip. But unfortunately, they're gonna have to go up against. I feel like they're gonna have to go up against the Lakers for the West. I feel like they can make a push. I don't feel like the Bucks are gonna do anything without Dame. I don't know. I feel like regular season is still very important, and
Well,
I think
I'm
somebody needs to tell the teams that.
Mm.
I'm listening to you. You kind of proving my point. Like, if the regular season mattered, why do we need these play-in games? Like, the Warriors are the seventh seed. That they shouldn't have to further prove themselves because you want to give the ninth or the 10th seed a chance. It shouldn't matter. Like if you don't make the top eight, you don't get in. They were the seventh seed in the conference. They deserved that spot. Now, I mean, basketball, it's a game of flukes. Like if a team goes on a run or a team gets cold, that could cost you the playoffs that you spent your hard-earned year trying to make it. You get to the end of the season, you're the seventh seed. That used to mean something. Nope, we gotta go play these playing games, and if we lose this one, then we gotta go play another one. And God forbid you lose that one, now you're out. Now the regular season went nothing. Like you did
Hmm.
all that, you worked all that time and put all that effort in to get the seventh seed just to get caught up by a team that was on a hot streak at the right time when the whole year they played like crap. Their record shows it. They're the ninth seed, they're the 10 seed, but they got hot at the right time, and now you're out. I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
I agree. I agree with you, Big Z. Okay, Peasy, let's hear you, man.
Yeah. For me, it's like you got three coaches that were literally fired, and then being Mike Malone from the Grizz. You got the Kings coach back in December that got fired, and these guys are you know
Pivotal.
what even the Denver coach too, right? I mean, so
Mhm.
even this guy got fired, and so like to me it's just crazy. It's like how do you um how do you still have a chance to make the playoffs with that kind of dysfunction? And so like to me, like, in baseball, like if you um if you got that kind of dysfunction, you're not sniffing the playoffs. In basketball, the top two-thirds of the league make it to have a shot at the playoffs. I mean, like you just can't be terrible. And so like that's why like the regular season like drags. It's like, you can kind of tell the ones that are just there to make, attendance numbers, right? And then there's teams that are actually, there that to contend. And so you got the contenders and then you got everybody else. And that's just kind of like the how it is. I mean, not to kind of like, just poo-poo the NBA as they're getting ready to launch their playoffs. Even though, like right now, I think the Bulls are getting boat raced right now by um or actually throw
Here's
the
the
playoff
bracket. Yep.
the bracket throw it up there. Yeah, they're getting boat raced right now by the Sun or excuse me by the Heat. And
Hmm.
so the Grizzlies lost their coach and they still almost pulled out a victory against the Golden State Warriors last night. And if you were watching that game, y'all, man, there was a lot of like crazy calls, and like some of those calls was just like the reason why people like are mad at the NBA because like there was like no foul, and then they would like challenge it, and they would still be there like, yeah, that was a foul, and I'm like, what world is that? Is that a foul? But as a bonus question, what I wanted to kind of just like chop it up because it sounds like we're pretty much unanimous on
Josh
the
didn't get his
core.
say.
Oh, yeah, Josh, you got anything to add
Yeah, no,
to?
I was definitely kind of along the lines with Zeke. I just feel like with these excuse me, these playing games, it's almost like they're trying to mock what the NFL is doing with their wild card weekend and stuff. Whereas you could have these guys, these teams that could be subpar for that matter, and have one great game, and now go from the 10th to the seventh seed. So um, I, I do kind of see it as this regular season is meaningless, and not to mention you have so many games in the regular season where you can have multiple games where your star players are literally sitting the bench because they can coast at this point. Whereas if you were to shorten the NBA season, even by 20 games, let's say, now that's an extra incentive for these guys to play harder because they got less opportunity to pad their winning bracket. So I kind of do see it as meaningless. And to your point, Chris, the same thing. Like you can be heading into the playoffs and head coaches get fired. And these teams, because of the talent that they have, could absolutely still dominate. Um, so yeah, that's my take on that.
All right.
Yeah, well said, brother. I mean, that's that, at the end of the day, that's what makes the March Madness special is that it's a one and done, and so it adds to the intrigue in the urgency. And the regular season just doesn't have that urgency, and they're trying to manipulate that by having like a mid-season tournament, which just it's not bringing the buzz
Stupid.
that it needs to. It's
Yeah.
just kind of stupid. But
Yep.
yeah, throw that bracket back up on the screen. And
Yep.
so the NBA playoffs is starting, y'all. And as a sports podcast, we want to get hyped up for the big sporting events. Which of these brackets, at least for the first round, are you guys most looking forward to seeing? And who do you think has the most to lose or the most on the line?
Hmm.
Go ahead, Dave. I'm curious what you think.
um, so I feel like honestly, I'm not even gonna really look at the East because it's the East. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the Lakers have the most to lose. They made the biggest splash this season. I feel like they have the most to lose, man.
Hmm.
They got Luca. You know, LeBron is. He's calling the shots over there. They letting him do whatever he wants to do. I feel like he he may back his team into a corner or into a situation because he wants things done his way, and it kind of puts a target on their backs. And now they got Luca. I feel like the expectation is what is Shannon Sharp saying? Lakers in 5. There's a
Hmm.
lot. I feel like they have the most to lose. Um, my shocker team. Um, I don't know. I don't even know if I have one. I would say the Warriors based on how what their makeup is right now. But again,
Yes,
like
that's
I'm
a
a
good
Knicks
point.
I'm a Knicks fan. We both Knicks fans, PZ. I don't really I'm the Knicks really disappointed me down the stretch. I know Jalen Brunson got hurt last year, so but they seem like they gassed out. So I don't really have any faith in our Knicks this year, bro. But I feel like the most to lose the Lakers. My surprise team will be the Warriors.
I think most of America might be pulling for those Warriors, man. It just feels like it. Josh, what do you think, brother?
Yeah, man. I really don't know. I would say the team that has the most to lose is probably those number one seeds. Like they right now are two teams, OKC and Cleveland, who have not had a whole lot of success in the past years, and you know they've worked themselves up to gather this young talent and build a roster that meshes so well, only to face some pretty decent teams in the end here. You could be OKC facing the Lakers, um, and have to deal with LeBron and Luca and some dogs on that side. So I mean, I think these number one seeds really have the most to lose, if you ask me. And I'm really looking forward to some of those matchups. I like to see the Cavs take it all the way because since LeBron left Cleveland, they really have been lacking.
Yeah, I don't really think that, and I think you're right, Josh, in that obviously they probably got the most. If they actually lose their first round matchup, that would be
Yeah.
embarrassing. But I don't
Yep.
think anyone seriously thinks that. I think you're right, Dave. I think it's got to be, the Timberwolves and the Lakers. That series has a lot on the line. As a Knicks fan, I'm going to be most interested in watching my Knicks. I mean, they went all in this year with Bridges and with OG Anunoby signing him in the offseason. They gotta beat these young up and coming Detroit Pistons. They better bring it to them. They can't get knocked out in that first round. But yeah, I mean, my man Luca made it to the championship game last year with a squad much, I would say, much less than what the Lakers have together now. Because you got to think, if you're taking like Kyrie Irving and you're swapping him from LeBron James. I mean, we love Kyrie, but that's supposed to be your GOAT, right? And so now that you add him with Luca, I would think that they should be able to win it all. and they should definitely be able to beat this Timberwolves team, which is a shame. These two teams split during the regular season 2-2, but they only played once when Luka was on the court in the game in which the Lakers came out on top. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be interesting because I think the NBA is trying to position Anthony Edwards as the next face of the league because I think they want an American face of that next generation. And it's just it's not Giannis, it's not Joker. It's got to be Anthony Edwards, and if he gets knocked
Hmm.
out in the first round, to me that's a big L. But what do you think, Steve?
So my team that I was most interested in is like 12 minutes away from getting bounced out of the playoffs. So yeah, as far as like storylines, I want to see how far the Warriors can go. Um, I want to see if Cleveland and Oklahoma City can help validate what Chuck was saying about them a few weeks ago about
Hmm.
how ESPN only focuses on the Lakers and the Warriors and they're not giving them enough love. This is their
Hmm.
chance to step up and prove like, hey, Chuck was right. Like we got a squad. We're here. Um, it's not just about the Lakers and the Warriors or the Celtics. Like we are legit number one seeds in this league. We're legit the one of the top two teams in our conference. Do they have to win their conference? I don't think so. It would be nice to see them um, have to go up against the Celtics, talking about Cleveland, and to see what OKC can do against if they have to play the Lakers and see how well they can do. Um,
Hmm.
it'd be nice for them to win, but at least have it go 6 or 7 games. Don't lose in a sweep or a gentleman's sweep in 5 games. Um, there's their chance to show up and show out. So I kind of do think they have a lot to lose if they're not if they don't have a successful run. This is one of those times where I know I always say participation trophies don't count, but at least give us a good show. If you like I said, as far as the Lakers go, that number three seed, I don't buy too much into it because that's not the team that they played with all year. They've been one of the best teams in the league since they got Luca. So um, it would
Generational
be
player right there.
he is, and I think as far as the most to lose, yes, those two number one seeds, but I also believe the Lakers have a lot to lose because they pretty much stacked their team for this run.
Hmm.
Um, it might be I don't want to look into the future or give any hot takes or whatever, but how many more years is LeBron going to play? This might be his last best chance to do something significant. So I know they want to make a good run and try to get him number five, and I feel like in his mind, anything less than that would be a failure. So
Hey, we
I'd
like
also
hot
be
takes here,
interested.
though.
Yeah, I'm not much of a hot take type of person. I only do it for show every now and then. Um, like saying the Cowboys are the worst franchise in history. Um,
You were speaking facts then, buddy.
whatever. Um, but yeah, I'd also be interested to see in Orlando. Um, Paulo Banchero and Cole Anthony. I watched some of that game last night, and having not watched them much at all this year, I was kind of impressed with how they handled that game and took control. So it'd be nice to see them up against the Celtics. I don't know what their head-to-head was this year, but
Bro, you ain't gonna
if
be
they
able to
could,
watch them for very long. Celtics about to about to bring the broom to those boys.
I
But
mean, you never know.
real quick,
It,
guys, if you're watching this, make sure you like and subscribe and throw your team that you want to see the most, the matchup you want to see the most in the chat.
Yes.
So we can have a good laugh.
That's right. All right, Dave. You got anything else, Zeke?
no, I'm good.
All right.
All right, fellas, that was a good segment. So Playoffs should be pretty interesting this year, so we'll see what happens, man. But go Knicks. I'm looking for my Knicks to do something magical, but I'm not holding my breath.
They got to play against the Mr. Elbow himself, Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rochester's finest.
Oh boy, there you
Rochester's
go. I
own.
wasn't even gonna say nothing, man. All right,
ROC represent.
That's
all right,
right. We'll knock your teeth out.
all right, all right. We're gonna move on to the next segment. All right. Also, too, my internet is a little spotty, fellas, so I'm gonna be my video is a little jumpy too, so I apologize about that.
It's all good, bro.
All right. So let's jump into topic. Let's jump into this topic number 2. Kick us off there. All right. Every year, a team goes from lottery to playoffs. This year, we will see that trend continue. PZ, do me a favor before we vote on this. Explain to our viewers what you mean by the lottery to the playoffs.
Lottery would be like the first 10 picks of the draft. So why don't you throw the first 10 picks of the draft up on the screen so that way the viewers can understand what we got here. But the
You know
first
what?
10 picks of the
I missed it. I missed
Oh,
that.
you missed that? All right,
Yep.
that's
Eat them
fine.
up.
I got it written down. First pick of the draft this year is the Tennessee Titans. Pick number 2 is the Cleveland Browns. Pick
Mhm.
number 3 is the New York Giants. 4 Patriots. 5 Jaguars. 6 the Las Vegas. I almost said Oakland Raiders. 7 you got the New York Jets. 8 you got the Carolina Panthers, and then 9 the Saints, and 10 the Bears. And so, like, as far as last year, we saw um, a team go from a lottery pick to the playoffs, and that would have been obviously the Washington Commanders. Year before that, we had the Houston Texans, right? They were the number 1 pick in the draft, and they went from number 1 pick, laughing stock of the league, playoffs. And so the question is, hey, will we see that trend continue? Let's throw those numbers up, fellas.
All
What you
right.
got?
3, 2, 1. I'm at a 1. PZ's at 4. Josh is at 3. Zeke is at 3. Let's start with you, Josh.
Yeah, I put a 3 up because I'm looking at this order and I'm seeing like the Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots, Jags, Raiders, Jets, Panthers, Saints, Bears. Bro,
The
like
Vomit Squad.
like I mean, these are all teams that like were just buns. Like nobody was watching them. Like unless you're a fan, nobody was excited to see them play. And I mean, maybe the Bears because everybody was seeing they wanted to see how Caleb was going to turn out. The Saints, they kind of have these spurts of like greatness and then die off, and then they get some injuries and they're plagued with some things. So I think the Saints of that whole squad, because of Kellen Moore, uh, Zeke's buddy from the past, and one of the Eagles' offensive coordinator, he now took the head coach position with the Saints. I think Kellen Moore is an offensive genius. I think that he knows how to take players and build schemes around players that put them in successful positions. So I think of all those teams in the top 10, maybe they have a chance if they play their cards right and they draft and invest a little bit into the squad. So I gave it a 3 because uh, could they? Sure. But will they? Probably not. And I just don't see that as a trend, quite frankly.
All right. I'm going to go next. I'll make mine quick. I was a 1, and I was a 1 because that list is just like Josh said, is buns. I don't see anybody on that list making the playoffs. Not a single one of them. Now, I do have I have some affinity for the Chicago Bears because their general manager is Ryan Poles, and he is the nephew of Pastor Ron Poles, who is a very dear friend to a lot of us. He comes to our retreat every year. He's a great man filled with a lot of wisdom. And this past summer at the retreat, he was sharing with me. He was sharing Ryan's story with me about how he came up and got into the position that he was in, that he's in right now. And so, if it's anybody, I'm pulling for the Bears to do it, but I just don't see them doing it. I don't see anybody doing it. So I was at a one. None of those lottery teams from this year are going to hit the playoffs. You heard it here first.
Mm,
I'm standing on it.
10 toes down.
10 toes
Zeke,
down.
what you got, bro?
So yeah, I gave it a three. Main reason I gave it a three is I'm playing the role of Josh in this one. I really don't know much or care about the NFL right now. It's baseball season. Um, again,
Baseball
I'm just
season,
here.
baby.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Um,
Okay, Marchand, Mr.
but
Skittles.
if I had to play along with this one, easy. This is where my hot take comes in. I'd say the Raiders. Um,
Mm.
I think the addition of Pete Carroll and Geno Smith might it has the potential to light a spark in those boys. And isn't Brady part owner?
He is.
He got
Yeah.
something to do with the
Zeke,
Raiders,
I
right?
like that. I like that a lot, man. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna just say drop this jewel real quick.
Go ahead.
Because of who I think they're gonna take in the draft, I really feel like with Pete Carroll being there and who I think their pick is gonna be, you could probably see Seahawks 2.0 if they can get a consistent quarterback in there.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna save that for next Thursday. All right. And we know what next Thursday is. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the show. But go ahead, Zeke.
Yeah. So I think that combination, like Brady, he doesn't suffer losing too well. So he's gonna impart his wisdom and his uh, that winning drive, I believe, in him, along with Pete Carroll. And I mean, Gino, is he a superstar? Nah. Is he one of the names that you think of when you're thinking of the top quarterbacks in the league? Nah. But Gino is consistent. Gino is dependable, and I think he'll do enough to make the Raiders somewhat respectable this year. So. If I had to pick one of those teams, I'd probably go with the Raiders to surprise people. And I mean, like I said,
That is a hot take, though.
how many teams make the playoffs? We had three teams make the playoffs from that division last year. I think they could beat out the Broncos. I don't. The Broncos don't necessarily scare me. So if one of those spots was up for grab, why not that one? Why can't the Raiders take that spot?
Man, I'll tell you what, like when I was thinking this through, I wanted to say the Raiders because I think, and this is gonna sound crazy, I actually think you're right, Zeke. They're probably gonna be the most improved, but they were not my pick. They were not even my top three. Well, they were my third. But
Mm.
the reason for that was because I that division is murderer's row. They're not gonna be better than the Chiefs. They're just not. I actually think Bo Nix is special, bro. And shout out to my cousin. He said I was just looking at the draft order, shaking my head. I think the Raiders make most sense here. Yeah, I, I get it, but like with the Chargers and my man Jim Harbaugh, I can't see them making that leap over Jim Harbaugh because I think the Chargers are going to be much, much better. And the Broncos with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, I still think they're gonna be the fourth best team in that division, even
Mm.
with Pete Carroll. And so I couldn't pick them no matter who they draft at that pick. And so the two that I came up with, because I voted a four, so I actually think this is gonna happen. At first I was leaning towards the home team here with the Carolina Panthers. Because I think at the end of the season they were impressive to me, like Bryce Young was doing his thing. They got really good running game. Chuba Hubbard, I mean, he was no joke at the end of the year. And they drafted a really high end running back that, I mean, unfortunately, he got injured and we really couldn't see what he was capable of doing. But hopefully, he's able to come back next year and be healthy. But they really just need a defense. They couldn't get teams off the field. And so, for all of Bryce Young's valiant efforts at the end of the season, it just all came for naught because they just could not, they just didn't have the offensive weapons to keep up with, I mean, Josh, your high flying Eagles, who almost lost to the Panthers at the end of the year. And so I think those boys are ready to take that next step. But I think they have a really good shot, which is why I voted a four. But this is probably going to hurt. This is my hot take. The team that I actually think will make the playoffs next year. You heard it here first, and I'm very, very sorry to say this. The Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee
Tell us
Titans.
why, Peasy.
Yeah, I'm
Bro,
curious.
the Tennessee Titans, the first pick in the draft, absolute worst team. But we've seen this happen before. The Houston Texans went from worst to first. And when I was looking around, out of all those teams, I wanted to say the Bears, but they got to deal with the Packers. They got to deal with the Lions, and those boys ain't going nowhere, right? The Saints, I don't think they're going to be that much improved. But when you look at the AFC South, and this is why it hurts so much, is because I'm not a big believer in Anthony Richardson. I would love to see him take that next step, but I just don't think he's going to take it. I would love to be wrong on this, but I just don't see that happening. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a dumpster fire. It doesn't matter who they pick. That organization is always a mess. The Tennessee Titans have not been perennial dumpster fires. They've usually been a very competitive franchise. Their ownership group puts a competitive product typically on the field. And I think last year, the biggest reason that they were absolutely the worst team was they just turned the ball over too much. You can't have that in the NFL. Was it Bill Belichick used to say a lot of more games are lost than won, right? And so when you got a quarterback like what's his name, Will Levis, and you
Will
got a quarterback
Levis.
like Will Levis, where he's throwing what was it, 12 interceptions. He only threw 13 touchdowns last year, 12 interceptions, and you add on to that another five fumbles. I mean, you got 17 turnovers, and so you're giving the ball to the other team. And so is this that all that surprising? They were actually one of the best in the NFL against the pass all year. Tennessee Titans was one of the best against the pass all year, and yet they're the number one pick in the draft. And so what does that tell you? It tells you that they got these really short fields, right? And that was largely because their running game was just they couldn't stop the run. If they can get their quarterback, reduce the turnovers, right? And then they can get with picks 2 through 7 or whatever other rounds that they manage to accumulate picks in. If they can get some defensive line help, shore up that run, maybe they can be able to stop the run enough to keep their defense from getting tired with all the turnovers and being out there for too long. I think those boys can make a huge leap with the coaching that they got intact. Brian Callahan another year, or taking over the helm. I think you heard it here first. Tennessee Titans playoff team 2026.
I
Now
mean, the
that's
Titans
the
were normally
hottest
good because
take.
they had
That's a hot
Derrick
take,
Henry in the
man.
backfield.
Yeah, I mean they got talent, bro. I mean Cam Ward,
They
if they
don't
draft
have
Cam
Derrick
Ward,
Henry.
they don't have Derrick Henry, but they got a monster mash of Pollard, the old cowboy who actually did great last year, Tajay Spears, right? And they got Calvin Ridley. And so if they can get Akine, right, to do anything or to make that next step, a lot of times, second and third year receivers will take that next step. He says, are the Titans not taking a QB at number one? Yeah, they're taking Cam Ward. I think
Yeah,
they're
they
going to
have
take Cam
to.
Ward.
Cam Ward
They
is the
have to.
logical choice, man.
They
He's
have
like,
to.
yeah,
See, and that's why I don't think the Titans are going to go anywhere because, for one, they don't have the best offensive line, so they're not going to be able to protect the QB like they should. And so for me, you throw in a rookie QB behind someone like Will Levis, who is going to be fighting for the position, right? If you take Cam Ward, Will Levis is fighting for his position at QB. So to me, I'm not sure how that translates on the field. Like if you're going in at QB right now, you are in rebuild as a Tennessee Titan because you're not throwing the ball to likes of AJ Brown anymore. You're throwing it to Traylon Burks and a injury prone Calvin Ridley. Like I really I don't see them excelling. I don't even know who they got at tight end.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying, man. I think they can take that next step. I think they really could because they still got more picks. They can pick up an offensive tackle. They can pick up a defensive lineman and shore up that defense in this draft. And we've seen it happen. The last 2 years, you had the Washington Commanders and you had the Texans all get their star quarterback, and boom, all of a sudden they made it to that next round. And what division is weaker, unfortunately, than the AFC South? That if a team was going to do it, then the Tennessee Titans. That's my hot take.
All right.
Interesting.
All right. That was a good segment, fellas. I think we should jump into the next topic. This next topic is a pretty serious topic, so
Yeah.
let's
Put it up.
jump into it.
Power
right.
slap.
Yeah, so power slap. All right. So we all know fight sports have an inherent risk of injury. But what we know about CET, power slap is a sport that should be banned. Wow. All right, man, let's go with it. That's when the term ban is heavy. It's very heavy handed, but the finality of it. But let's go with it. All right. 3, 2, 1. I'm at a 5. Josh is at a 5. Zeke's at a 1. Peasy's at 3.
I can't believe he gave it a 1.
Zeke, let me hear you, man. So let's do this real quick.
Why is that so unbelievable, Josh?
I don't know. I want to hear you.
Let's hear Zeke, and then let's go to the video.
I did not mean to take over, but
Well,
yeah.
actually,
Play the video.
Let's give a little context for how this whole thing even came up. Josh, can you throw up on the screen a very interesting story that build a little bit of intrigue? For those of you who like the Power Slap is part of the UFC. And so for those of you who like fighting and combat sports, you guys may recognize this face. This is BJ Penn, jiu-jitsu star. For a lot of us who've been watching UFC for a while, he might have been one of the guys that you first started to like in the sport. This man is now claiming that his family has been murdered and replaced in disturbing social media posts. My man is literally saying that he needs help. And he needs help because he needs the authorities to go and take his family out of the house, because those people that are in his house are not his family.
They're imposters.
They're imposters. And he believes that those imposters killed his real family. Now he's saying, like, man, but now if I was to take action into my own hands, now I'm the crazy one. Now I go to jail. So I need help. I need the authorities to come and do this.
And mind you, he's not just talking about aunts and uncles. This dude's talking about his mom, if I'm not mistaken, his kids. Did he say his kids weren't who they were supposed to be?
Yeah, his mother, his brother, all murdered. And he says that he needs help to get him out of
He's pointing out things like moles on their skin and how their teeth are shaped and all kinds of just craziness. It's buck wild. It really is.
But just to bring a little context to what we're talking about today, which is my man was in a combat sport for years. He made it to the UFC Hall of Fame. Okay. And so, but how did he make it there? He made it there limping, y'all. Like in his last 10 fights, he was fighting. I think his last UFC fight was in 2019. His last win in the UFC was 2010. His last fight, 10 fights, lost to Clay Guida, lost to Ryan Hall, lost to Dennis Silver, lost to Rodriguez, lost to Frankie Edgar. Some of you guys who know the sport know Frankie Edgar, lost to Rory McDonald. These were by KO to Rodriguez and to Edgar. Unanimous decisions, which means he got probably pummeled because these guys ain't like wrestlers. Nick Diaz don't hold no punches. He lost. John Fitch, right? His last win was against Matt Hughes, bro. And Matt Hughes has been retired and a UFC legend for a long time now. And so he got pummeled on the way out. And so we know the dangers of concussions and CTE. And now when you add that to the UFC's new moneymaker, Power Slap, let's see what y'all think about that. Go ahead and throw that video up for the audience.
Rick James ain't got shit on me. Oh! Going on one, and he's down. Oh my God!
Vicious strike right there.
Oh my God!
And out! That's a knockout! Clean shot! Starched by Vernon Beefy!
It's crazy.
All right, Big Zeke, you were at a 1. Let's hear you.
Look, I'm at a 1 because as stupid as I think the sport of power slap is, um, I have a problem with telling grown people what they can and can't do if it has no effect on me and mine. Um, y'all saw those 5 clips of the knockouts. Um, as far as I can tell, those people who got put to sleep were standing there willingly with their hands behind their backs. And as far as I can tell, they were all grown men and women. So if they want to put themselves at risk like that for the sake of being in front of a camera and having people watch them, by all means, go ahead and do it. At the end of the day, um, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect my family. So if that's what they want to do with their lives, go for it. I have no. I mean, if we're gonna ban power slap, BJ Penn didn't participate in power slap. He was a UFC fighter. We're gonna ban mixed martial arts. People clown Floyd Mayweather for his style of boxing. Floyd didn't go in there to get hit in the face like a Roy Jones Jr. or Bernard Hopkins. Floyd was a master at the art of boxing. He bow, weave, stuck, and move. And I mean, 50 Cent clowns for not being able to read, but as far as I can tell, Floyd isn't dealing with any mental issues or any CTE or anything like that. Floyd is gonna live as long as he don't do anything stupid, to spend his millions and millions of dollars that he made. So we see the biggest uh, reason that CTE was brought to the forefront was because of football. I remember one of the biggest segments on Sunday Night Football, or the show with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. Y'all remember that segment, Jacked Up? That was must see TV. People coming across the middle. Who about to get lit up? Boom. Ronnie Lott, Rodney Harrison, Mike Singletary. The dudes that were known for, if you come across the middle, we gonna lay the lumber. Um, are we gonna ban football because of the inherent risk of CTE? I don't think so. So if these people want to stay in there and get put to sleep for my entertainment, I'm gonna get my popcorn and I'm gonna watch the clips. Um,
Bro,
but I don't
I
think we should
just
ban it because that's their choice.
yeah,
All
no
right,
way.
go ahead, Josh.
I'm sorry, Zeke. I disagree. I don't see the comparison between football, which people are on the field wearing protective gear, and that
And they
protective
still
gear
got issues.
enhances. They absolutely have issues, but they're not going to have issues like these powers. Bro, that lady with the mohawk is not going to walk straight in 5 years. Like, she's going to have problems later on. There's no doubt in my mind that she will live with the consequences of her quote unquote choice. Bad choice. Bad choice. So for
Here's the
me,
thing though, like Junior Seau, we all remember Junior Seau. Junior
yeah,
Seau was a beast.
yes.
Before he successfully took his life, y'all remember when he drove off the cliff and it was deemed an accident?
Hmm.
I don't think that was an accident.
No.
Junior Seau has serious issues. He had enough of his mind left to, when he did unalive himself, he didn't do it with a bullet to the head because he wanted them to study his brain when he was gone. But
Hmm.
Junior Seau had issues enough to the point where he took his own life.
Absolutely.
We watched the Antonio Brown crash out show for the last few years. CTE is definitely an issue in the NFL. Maybe not as much as you might see in like boxing or UFC like that because yeah, they have the protection, they have the gear, and they're making moves to uh improve that gear. We were clowning people for the funny helmets that they were wearing, and I saw dudes with those helmets on still get concussions. Like you talk about high speed crashes that happen on the field every 30 to 45 seconds in multiple areas of the field each play. These if it's not the CTE, the other risks to their bodies, people limping, can't walk. I applaud. Like we were talking about Barry Sanders last time. I applaud him for getting out after 10 years. Like, yeah, you question his love of the game, but I applaud him for putting himself like, look, I gave y'all 10 years. We're not going nowhere. I'm gonna get out while I still can use my body. Like Barry, you don't see Barry Sanders limping around with a cane or nothing like that because he got out at the right time, I believe. But some of these players, I mean, even if it's not CTE, the risk that they're putting their bodies at, are we going to
Yes,
ban it because we
I'm
want to protect them from themselves? No. So why are we going
completely
to do a power
understand.
slap?
I again because I think the purpose of this game is to knock people out, bro. Like
Hmm.
they are literally aiming to give you a concussion so that you fall on the ground. That's
What's
the
the
whole
purpose of
point of the
heavyweight
sport.
boxing?
Heavyweight boxing is to knock people down again, but
And
there
are we
are
gonna
some
ban
people.
that?
No, we're not going to ban it.
There's a
But
difference though,
there's
Zeke, because in
there
boxing
is.
you get to play
You're
defense. You
go
don't get to
yeah.
play
There you
defensive.
go.
Yes, you
There it
get to
is
play
right there.
defense,
That's the argument.
and you, as you know, the bigger the tree, the harder they fall. So dudes are going after the body. They're chopping down those big trees at the body, eating away. These these people are focusing on people's brains, bro. They're focusing on the brains. They're not
Brains that
slapping
they're
them in the
putting out
stomach.
there willingly to get slapped. If this
Understood.
is what they want to do, let them do
And
it.
and this is all I'm going to say. This is my take. This is my take right here. First Corinthians 8:7 says this. Sorry, First Corinthians 8:9. Be careful, however, that your freedom does not become a stumbling block to the weak. Now, understanding the context that um, they're talking about specific sins, right? Whatever it may be. Not to say that getting slapped in the face is a sin, right? But you could look at it like this: is just because you are free to do it doesn't mean you actually should. That's kind of how I take that. But I'm curious to hear what you guys here
Dave,
have
what
to
I
say.
mean, you said that you were a five, so you're definitely for banning it. Did Josh pretty much encapsulate your argument, or you got something else?
Nah, I mean, so let me just share this real quick. Okay, so there's a boxing promoter. His name is Lou DiBella, and he best described power slap as organized brain damage. All right, and I see I see zero benefit of this sport being added to our airways. I don't understand why here's the thing, Zeke. You said, well, what is boxing about? What do we watch boxing for? We watch boxing for the knockout. As much as I've started to enjoy hockey, I watch hockey for the fights, man. I want to see them throw, right? I want to see somebody get their shirt pulled over their head and then they go to the ground, the refs break them up. It's just a part of the game, right? The big hit with football is a part of the game. All right. I don't think athletes intentionally set out football players. I think the brotherhood is strong enough where they don't intentionally set out to hurt one another.
Damar Hamlin
Power-
going down on the field, perfect example.
right. Power slap is
Designed
it's
to
cruel
ruin you.
intentions.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's cruel intentions. Their main goal is to knock you out. And I think the sadistic part of it is the fact that there's no defense. You even get penalized if you flinch.
Yeah, you got to hold
Right.
that bar behind your back.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if you flinch, they're like, "Oh no, we want you to taste the whole hand." So there's no getting prepared. There's no flinching. There's no, and that's the lunacy to me, man. The lunacy is that people are waiting. People are waiting, and people are anticipating and hoping for the big crash out. They want the
Yeah.
big knockout. They want to see. You've seen the memes. The memes. People get slapped and they're going down. If a dude's falling back, they do the AI thing where they make him like seem like he's DJing or something like that. It's become these people's demise in that arena has become it's become fodder. Just
Entertainment.
just like the big hit, the big hit with Jacked Up. Now you notice how they transition from Jacked Up to You Got Mossed, right? That was intentional, man. I think that as CTE became a big thing, I think ESPN wanted to get away from glorifying that. So you notice like you went away from the big hit to you getting outclassed on the field, that type of thing. So I think ESPN, they no longer wanted to celebrate that, and that's just me speculating. But it's a smart move when you turn around one night and you're championing and you're celebrating big hits and people getting laid out, but then an hour later you got Scott Van Pelt doing a show talking about somebody suffering from CTE or possibly an athlete who's taking his life because he was suffering from CTE. It's kind of it's kind of whack, you know what I'm saying? So for me, man, Power Slap, it's for me, it's not about telling grown people what to do. It's about us claiming our humanity back and our sanity back, man. I think we started to get a little too barbaric with some of this stuff. I think it's ridiculous.
And I'll just jump in real quick because I know we're running low on time.
Real quick. Yeah, Chris, real quick before you go. One thing that Zeke said, he was like, who am I to tell grown people what to do? As long as it doesn't affect home, so be it. What if it does affect home? What if baby Zeke says, you know what, Dad? I want to be a power slap champion. I see these dudes showing their true strength. I want to show them how I could take a slap to the face.
How old is he?
It affects home now.
How old is he?
Bro, you're gonna tell me that you want your kid to be in a power slap competition at
Do
18,
I want him to be
19,
a power
20,
slap
21, 22?
competition as an adult? No, but would I try to steer him in the right direction? Yes, but at the end of the day, if he's an adult and that's what he wants to do, I can't stop him.
I didn't say you could stop him, but I'm saying it could affect home, and that's how it could affect home. That was all. That was the only thing that I had to say about that.
Yeah, and you actually just took what I was going to say. Like, to me, I gave it a 3 only because a strong part of me believes in personal liberty and freedom. So I really, really, really do want to agree with Zeke. But if someone tried to cancel the sport, I wouldn't fight it. And the reason is because I don't think it's a sport. There is no defense. There is no nuance to this, right? And I believe he said it great. When we eat cake, we don't just go for the icing. Nuance and skill is the key to why we find combat sports entertainment, right? The knockouts are the icing on the cake. And so I couldn't agree more. To me, it's not a sport. Like, if you can't do this, right, inside of a gym, training the young kids how to do the sport like MMA, you could train in jiu-jitsu, you could train in wrestling, you could train in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you could train in judo, you could train in boxing. So there's a lot of nuance to that, right? And there's offense and there's defense, and you can gain your skill up. Bro, this is just how well you can take a slap to the face. Like, bro, like, that's crazy to me. Like, you can't have gyms where you're trying to teach the young next generation of people how to play this great sport. And so for me, it's not a sport. This is organized cockfighting, organized dog fighting. It's just human, right? And so, like, maybe we think of it differently because we want people to have that personal liberty and freedom. But at the end of the day, like, to me, this is just it's not on the same level. It's just not. So that was my take on it.
I don't want anybody to think that I'm advocating for power slap to remain.
You kind of are, Zeke.
I couldn't care less if it fell off the face of the earth. But I don't want it to be banned because people think it's too barbaric. Like, if it goes away because it just loses popularity, I'm not gonna lose an ounce of sleep over it. But to say, oh, this is gonna be illegal because it's not safe, I don't like that. I don't agree with that.
I'm going to give the hot take. Zeke, do you think that Colin Kaepernick should have been penalized for kneeling on the field?
Absolutely not.
All right. So So you're actually advocating for something very similar. If he shouldn't have been banned for it, but he was, what my point is this: his freedom was interrupted because people felt strongly about the sport of football not intertwining with social construct concerns. And I'm trying to say is, if maybe a bad example, but
I was wondering where
I
it was going.
I'm just saying more so benefit to Cap kneeling, and it got kiboshed. There is no benefit to people getting slapped and getting concussions and having lifelong effects, but we agree with it because it's entertaining. That's is all I was saying.
Look, like I said, I don't, like Chris said, I don't think it's a sport. Do I think it should exist? Absolutely not. But as long as it does exist, and as long as people like, I don't understand. Like, people, nobody's holding a gun to these people's heads and say, "Yo, if you don't do this, we're gonna kill your kids." Nah, it's like, "Yo, you want to stand there and get slapped?" Yes, okay. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and tell some grown man or grown woman who I have no interaction with on a daily, you can't do this because I don't like it. Nah, that's the problem with people these days. They wanna interfere with people's lives so much. Oh, you can't do that because it offends me. It offends you, don't watch.
Bro, I think a better analogy would be this, because people will do anything for money, but this is
Yes,
kind of like sums it up
Tide
for me.
Pods.
But what, as an American culture, are we willing to tolerate? If they wanted to start a league where we're gonna have competitive drinking, right? And whoever can hold their alcohol the most, and everybody's just start taking shots, right? And then the last person to pass out, they get their hand raised. Or same situation, let's just say it was drugs, illegal drugs.
I
How
was gonna
many
go there.
shots can you take to the arm before you pass out, or you start, you need a
Tweaking.
EpiPen or something like that? Like, bro, like, there's limits to this. And even if there was a market to see like what a human being can be able to tolerate and take, that doesn't mean that necessarily we should stand for that, or as a culture that we should, be okay with that. And I think this is different than other combat sports just because there is no defense, and the only objective is to get more Junior Seaus, more BJ Penns, right? More I forget the dude, the tight end from the New England Patriots. And so that's the Tide Pods was hilarious. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely.
So
And so,
so so to wrap it up really quick, fellas,
Mhm.
because we gotta do the weekly rundown. So to wrap it up for me, I just think at the end of the day, Zeke, it's really not about us telling people what to do and what they can do, man. My
right.
thing, like I said, my hope is just that humanity takes over. I think I would like to see I would like to see Dana White stand up and say, you know what, making millions off of this is great, but I care more about
People.
people and their livelihoods and their families. Like, he likes to get up and wax poetic about UFC fighters, about after the fight, oh, we're gonna medical suspend them for 6 months. I can't take a chance on putting them back in there. That guy's got a family. He used to say that about Cowboy all the time. Cowboy's got a family. He's got little boys, and I don't want to see him go out like blah blah blah. But then, a year later he jumps over to Power Slap, and it's like he couldn't care less about these people who's getting a medulla oblongata
Yeah, it's
smashed all
hypocritical.
over the place. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. Like, when does our human side stand up and say, this right here, this ain't it? A man
Hmm.
or a woman, competition to me, a sport. Like, and I'll give you props, Zeke, because you said you never said it was a sport, right? Because a sport would entail competition. A sport. You look at golf, even though they're not physical, they're going at each other. They're competing against themselves and the field, right? In this type of competition, you're not even competing against them. your body is just there to see what it can withstand. You're not competing against anything.
Mm-mm.
You're just there. You're a crash.
Last man standing, literally.
Yeah, you're a crash test dummy, and it's not about you. It's about what your brain can withstand. You know what
Bro,
I'm saying? And that's insane to me.
a 350-pound man with the force of everything, bro,
Right.
he's got that equals to hundreds and hundreds of pounds of force, like straight up. That was a perfect example, Dave. Crash test dummy.
See, that's all
Nailed
they
it.
are. That's all they are. All right, let's do this. Let's jump into real quick. Let's jump into the weekly roundup. But before we do that, let me give a shout out to Opposition Radio real quick.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So I want to give a shout out to my partners over at Opposition Radio. Opposition Radio is a 24-hour internet radio station that offers Christian hip hop, EDM, R&B, reggae, Latin pop. Some amazing artists over there in rotation. So we would love for you guys to show Opposition Radio some support. Check out the amazing artists in rotation. Just go over to the oppsradio.live from any internet browser and check them out. Opposition Radio, motivation to stand firm. Appreciate Opposition Radio partnering with us. And let's jump into the final topic, fellas. It's the weekly roundup. All right. So we got a lot going on in the weekly roundup. So 2025 Masters, man, Rory pulled it out. Completed the Grand Slam. How y'all feel about it?
585. That's a true representation right there.
For sure. So a lot of people don't know, man, but Rory's wife is from Rochester. And every once in a while, man, Rory slips into town. People are spotting him all over the place. You know, I have a coworker that was at a pub somewhere, some Irish pub somewhere, and it was like a Wednesday night, and Rory, he was there chilling with his entourage. It wasn't a big crowd, but my guy from work, he was able to get a picture with him and talk with him a little bit. He's got the picture in his cube at work, and he's pretty proud of that, man. So shout out to Rory. He was only the sixth player, right? Is he sixth player to pull off?
Sixth player to complete the career Grand Slam, which is the Masters, the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship, and the British Open. He's only the third player in history to win all four of those and the Players Championship, which a lot of the players consider that to be even bigger than some of the the Grand Slam tournaments. Simply because that's their tournament. The field is extremely stacked. That's one of the toughest tournaments to win, and he's only the third player with Tiger and Jack, which is elite company. I mean, you talk about again back to the Mount Rushmore conversation. Tiger and Jack are definitely up there, and now Rory's joined them as the only three players to win the career Grand Slam and the Players Championship. So I'm glad he did it. He's been trying to do this for 11 years. The Masters was the only one that he didn't win, and he finally got it done. He fumbled the bag a couple times. He almost fumbled this one. The first player ever to win the Masters with 4 double bogeys. So he tried to give this one away, but he locked down when it counted and put Justin Rose away in the playoffs. So I'm happy for him. Congratulations.
Nice. Tiger completed it how many years ago, Zeke?
25?
25, man.
I believe it was 90. No, not 97. No, it was 2000, I believe. 23 or 25 years. Tiger did it so long ago.
Yeah, man.
Tiger had that run, man.
He's feasting, man.
He was just untouchable.
Red shirt Tiger, man. You had to watch out for red shirt Tiger.
You brought up Tiger. I'm gonna read this one real quick. Sorry, Chris. I don't mean to put you and your cousins to sleep, but I just want to read this one because Dave mentioned Tiger, so I got to do it.
Let's go.
He spent 620 weeks as the world's #1 golfer, which equates to more than 11 years. The current #1 golfer is Scotty Scheffler, and he would need to stay there until 2035 to beat Tiger's record. and he holds the number one record for consecutive weeks at number one with 281 weeks.
Hmm.
He holds the number two spot on that list with 264 weeks. Number three on that list is Greg Norman with 96 weeks. Tiger was different. I'll
That's
just
it.
leave it at that.
Let's just leave it at that. All right. So KD and Booker missed the playoffs. Peasy, how you feeling about that, man?
Yo, it's just wild to me. I mean, like when you got a talent like Kevin Durant and you can't make the playoffs and Devin Booker, I mean, to me, it just says everything about his leadership. Like you got to be able to will that team into the playoffs. And this is just a shame for the Phoenix Suns franchise. Never won a championship, and it looks like it's going to be a long time until they do. Because now, not only
Hmm.
I think they're the only team to not make the playoffs, and then also not be in the draft lottery on top of that,
Sad day.
which is sad because I mean, really, I mean, only the top 10 teams don't make the playoffs, or the bottom 10 teams don't make the playoffs. Everybody else is in the play-in or is in the playoffs because only 10 teams don't make it, and the Phoenix Suns are the only ones to not make the play-in, to not make the playoffs, and not make the lottery. They're in trouble.
You
Man, I
think
didn't even.
it's fair to label KD as a coach killer?
As a coach killer,
Yeah, I mean they just fired their coach. It was first year, he only lasted 1 year in Phoenix,
Yeah,
and he's gone.
Buttonholzer.
Yeah,
yeah. And not to put it all on KD, I think the reason why that happens is because KD is so great that you expect so much. And when you have KD on your team, the expectations go up and he just does not deliver. He just don't deliver because he's not going to elevate anyone else on that team. He's going to be isolation great. And that's a problem.
Sounds like the senior version
Melo.
of John Morant.
My bad.
You good?
You
I
said
feel
John
like
Moran.
that about John Morant. He's just a young. That's. I feel like that's what John Morant suffers from at a younger age. I feel like Ja is ISO and just single player. He's like a phenomenon, but I don't see Ja making anybody better, man. But that's a whole other story.
You know what they're
That's because
talking.
Ja grew up and that ISO game was glorified. Long gone are the days of the triangle and the pick and roll, and it's just ISO. Get him on the island and dribble 50 times and see what you can do.
They're talking
Yeah.
a return of Steve Nash to the Suns though as a head coach.
Yo, I love what Tyrell just said. I don't know if you've seen the chat. He said KD is a Hall of Fame role player. He does not want to be the
Dang.
man.
Oh, we
That's a
both
hot
hit it,
take.
Dave.
That's a hot take right there.
That's
But
crazy.
that is crazy. But
That's
I
wild.
agree. I agree. That's a hot one,
All right, Chris. Early MLB returns. Tell us about it, man.
bro. I mean, it's crazy that the teams that you wouldn't expect have some of the best ERAs in the league. My pick actually to make the World Series on the AL side was the Kansas City Royals, and their record doesn't show yet, but they're right in the mix. But they got one of the best pitching staffs right now going with ERA wise. My New York Mets.
You
Zeke.
got my
You
Yankees
know,
winning tonight, 4-3.
I gotta mention the New York Mets.
Zeke
In
looked
first place, we lost
disgusted.
today. We lost today, but we'll see. We'll see if we can hang on to first place. But it's early returns right now, and they're looking pretty good, and they're not hitting worth a lick. Imagine when Soto gets going, Lindor gets going, Vientos gets going. Let's go, Mets. Let's go.
So yeah,
We're
so
gonna be right there.
I'm appalled. I'm appalled that you would even. Well, it's your character, Peasy. So it goes without saying.
Oh
But
boy, here we go.
you're gonna actually talk about the Mets. I get you, Z. You're gonna talk about the Mets when the Padres have been scraping everybody, bro. You want to talk about the Mets?
Yo, that's facts though. But you know what's crazy is how good and how dominant the Dodgers started. And as far as early returns, they're now in third place in that division, which is just wild to me. I don't think they'll
But you're
stay
talking
there.
about the Dodgers starters, bro. They done lost the last 6 out of 7, I believe.
Yeah,
So
which is crazy.
the starters ain't too good. Come on, man. What are you
I mean,
talking
but
about?
Dave, me tapping my watch wasn't telling you to hurry up or watch the clock. That was just letting Chris know it's April, and as long as there's time left in the baseball season, the Mets still have time to Met.
Right.
So
And that's why I'm
I
talking
hate
about the
watching him get so
Niners
excited
spirit
this
right
early
here.
because he knows how this story goes.
Yep.
bro. Like I guess I'm a classic Mets fan. See, hey, listen, the Bills fans do the same thing, and so any Bills fans watching this, y'all know y'all just the same. You know what I mean? Oh, we going to the Super Bowl this year. Oh, we gonna win it all.
And then Patrick Mahomes steps up.
Yeah, but I mean, at least the Mets got a chip in their history. So hey, there we go. No, I don't mean to throw shade at the Bills. At the
That was shade.
All
You
right.
That was
meant
worse
that,
than me talking about our trophies, man.
Chris. You meant that. That came from the chest.
Did I?
Let me ask y'all this, man. How many times do you ever hear me pull out the number 27 when I talk
A
about it?
lot, Dave. Don't do that.
Come
Don't
on,
do
man.
that.
When do I
You
ever
talk
say
every
27?
Dave. Don't do that. Don't do that, Dave.
Come on, man. You got to act like you've been there before, man. What are we
Come
Dave,
on,
doing here?
man.
Dave,
You
how
do it
strong
all
are
the
these women?
time. Anytime anybody ever
How
talk
strong are
about their history and their franchise success, you be like, how many we got?
they?
27? Oh, okay. Come on now. You just as
Ah,
bad as Cowboys fans.
ah. Oh, man. All
It's a
right.
true
So
statement.
I know this is going to drive, Peasy probably going to disconnect when we talk about this, man. But Paige Beckers was the number one pick in the WNBA draft. She got picked up by the
How did
Dallas.
this topic get into this episode? Like,
Nah, man,
how did we do that?
we gotta show her some love,
Show her
man,
some love,
because
bro.
we gotta show her some love, man. We do it for the fellas. Is it's equal opportunity love, man. It's like the WNBA may not be much, but they try. They got some good talent coming there and coming in there right now, and I think it's important we show them some love, man. So shout out to Paige Beckers. I don't know.
Women matter too, Chris.
Huh?
Bro, it clearly on this podcast, because we mentioned the WNBA every single episode. It's wild, but that's all
Dude,
good.
we mentioned
Shout out to
if we
Paige
start
Beckers.
doing whole segments on the WNBA, then
Here's the
I
story.
understand you rolling your eyes. But if a GOAT retires or if we got a budding superstar as a number one pick, it's worth a 5 second mention, right?
Bro, shout out in the chat if you ever watched the full WNBA game from quarter one to the final one. How many of
Look,
you watched the last
when you
5 minutes?
asked me that question before, I told you I've maybe watched enough WNBA highlights that total a full game. I've never watched a single game on purpose in my life,
I
but I watch highlights on ESPN. I see the headlines, and when I see that a Diana Taurasi retires, we gotta shout that out. Elena Della Don retired. I didn't mention it because I know you hate women. But hey, shout out to Elena Della Don
Why it's gotta
for
be like that?
retiring. You had a
Why it's
great
gotta be like
career.
that,
I
Chris?
hope you enjoy your retirement.
Why
Hey,
why it's
Paige,
gotta be like that, Z? Seriously?
because you're the only one who fights against me anytime I ever want to mention someone without testicles.
Yo, that's a whole pause right there, bro.
what we doing,
That's
man?
a whole
What are we
pause.
doing?
I know we said we wasn't pausing, but that was a pause.
He said, "What are we doing here? What are we
What,
doing?"
yeah,
I
what,
thought we officially buried the pause, bro. I thought
bro,
we
but we had to bring it back. My man was talking about like, yo, that's the whole pause. This children might be listening to this, Z. My goodness.
They
We
should be
we
in bed.
right.
we
Any
gotta
good
wrap
parents
this
will
up.
have their children in bed right now.
Mine sleep, drooling
Yo,
on his pillow right now.
it's spring
Mine
break
too.
over here.
Oh, that's
So
right. That
It's
backfired.
spring break here too. Mine sleep, drooling on his pillow.
By there too. They're
yeah.
trying to at least.
Hey, but not
All right,
everybody's,
fellas. Great episode, man. Peasy, excellent job with the topics, man. You might have backed yourself into a new job, so be careful if that wasn't your intentions. All right.
Mm.
So real quick before we leave, so I want to throw this out there, fellas. We talked about this earlier. I was trying to get y'all attention in the private chat, but nobody saw it. So I
I
want
saw
to
it.
talk to everybody about. So the NFL draft is coming up next Thursday, right? Is that next Thursday? It's
yeah,
a week after.
24th.
It's the next Thursday. So here
Right?
at the
Yeah.
Opps SportsCast, we have decided that we are going to do a Thursday special show on the 2025 NFL Draft. So we'll be live during the draft. We'll be talking about the picks as they go live. We won't have any audio, but we will we'll have video and we'll be watching along. We don't want to get copyright struck. We don't want to get sued. Zeke is I can't even tell you how excited Zeke is for this. That's really why we're doing it. Because he was just like blowing up the chat about it today. We couldn't stop talking about it. So,
He's
Word.
just
yeah,
here.
Nelson, yes, we are gonna
Excited.
we're gonna live cast this thing. We're gonna live on the
Yes.
edge. It's gonna be dope. We're gonna try to have invite some live guests in. Favorites of certain teams, people that we know that love certain teams. We're gonna have people on the air with us as their team is getting picked. We're just gonna have some fun, and we're just gonna watch the new talent come into the league and just have a good time. So that's gonna be next Thursday at 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
So be looking out for that. You'll see the advertisement for the show. Just click the bell for notification to be notified when we go live. So that's it. That's all we got. Anybody else got anything to say? Big shout out to Nelson for holding it down.
Sure, Nelson and Tyrell, for real.
Down, the whole night. The whole night. If it wasn't for Nelson, I'd swear nobody else was watching us right now.
No, you got to give
Tyrell or Tyrell.
That's right. Obviously, right. But what I'm saying is, I mean, look at the chat history, man.
He was keeping us. He was keeping us.
Yo, if it was Power Slap, bro, Nelson would be like 20-0 right now.
Still be standing.
Fifth member of the podcast. That's what's up.
All right.
Dope.
That's gonna do it for the night's episode, fellas. I appreciate you guys. To our audience, I appreciate you guys sticking in with us. Again, we went late. We went 23 minutes late. We are really trying to keep this show at an hour, but Peasy refuses to let that happen. So his hot take.
You do be talking a lot, don't you?
Oh my goodness.
Me?
Peasy talking a lot. Come on, man.
My man said he had 3 pages of notes for each topic.
He did. He put that in the chat. It's all
Someone's
good,
got to bring the facts. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to keep y'all in check and school y'all. You know what I mean?
All right. Until
hit the button, Josh.
We'll be here next Wednesday. We'll see you then. Don't forget, next Thursday, the live NFL draft show.
Dave, move your cup, man.
Oh, my bad. Peace, everybody. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.
Deuces.